I'm going by tens on the y-axis as well. 30, 40. So technically going by fives, we're going to start graphing the blue line here at 40. Now I know technically I'm going down 1, right 3. I can also go down 5, right 15, because 5 over 15 reduces to 1/3. That's why it's important to make the scale the same on x and y, because then you can just count squares when you're counting your slope. So if that confuses you, right, just count squares. Make sure scale on x and y is the same, and you'll know how to do that. So we're going to go count down 1 square, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to count all the way down to the x-axis. Okay, so just do that. Okay. It's helpful if you're a little weaker on your calculator skills, to count these down till the lines cross, till it hits the x-axis, all that kind of thing, because then you don't have to mess around with the graphing calculator. I'm going to graph this red line here, starting at 50, and go down 1, right 1. And I definitely want to go until the x-axis. Draw that line. And then the black line, we're starting at positive 30. And then I'll let you get caught up. We're going down 1, right 5. So down 1. Then I run out of room on my graph. I don't want that in red though. Graph this one in black. Okay, get caught up with that graphing, then we'll talk about shading. Less than the blue line, so it could be in that little section, could be in that little section, could be here in that little section. The red line I'm shading above, so it could be in here or in here. Right? It's not going to be above over here because I've got blue arrows pointing down. The 30 line, we talking above or below? Below. So either here or here. And then the place where the 3 arrows are pointing towards one another is this area right in there. Okay? So we need any place where, any corner of the feasible region. So we have a corner here, here, or I'm sorry, here where the lines cross, down here at 120, 0, and over here at 150, 0. Okay, so what are the coordinates of this point right here? 25, 25. So this order pair is 25, 25. How about this order pair here? So that one looks to be 75 and 15. I have this order pair here, which is 50, 0. And then lastly, I have this order pair here, which is 120, comma, 0. Okay? So we need to now take the corners of the feasible region and plug them into our objective function. It's a lot of math words there. So our profit equation is right here. P equals 6x plus 20y we wrote yesterday. So 6x plus 20y. And we'll just show that work for that down here. So P equals 6x plus 20y. So if we look at the order pairs, seeing that you're multiplying x by 6 and y by 20, what's your guess as far as what's going to be the point that maximizes? 75, 15, 25, 25, 120, 0, 50, 0. What do you think? Who would say that again? 120, 0. How about 75, 15? That one might be there, right? Because we're still multiplying 20 by 15, so that's going to get kind of large. So, which ones? Nope, 75 for x. Okay, we good? It's good. Sometimes I screw that up, so I want to make sure. All right, I'm going to plug in 75, 15 first, and then 120, 0. So 75 is your x value, 15 is your y value, and we're just going to plug in 6 times 75 plus 20 times 15. I'm going to plug in the 120, comma 0 point. So P equals 6 times 120 plus 20 times 0. That one equals 720. So I don't need to plug in this 100 or this 150 0 point because 120 is bigger than 50, and it's not going to maximize if it's only 50. But if you don't realize that and plug in that point anyways, no harm, no foul, it's all good. And then 25, 25 is not going to work either, so I'm just going to plug in these 2 points. In your graphing calculator, you can plug in those points. So I did 6 times 75 plus 20 times 15 equals 750. And then the 6 times 120 plus 20 times 0 was 720. Okay? So this one equals 750. Now you need to write a statement saying how much of whatever you should produce to make whatever the profit is. So we should produce, do you remember 75 was what? T-shirt or sweatshirt? You got it on your paper. The X value was what? T-shirt. Y value? Sweatshirt. So I would write a profit statement something like this. The 3 elements I need in your profit statement are how much money you made and how much X you should produce and how much Y you should produce. So those 3 things you got to say. So I'm going to write it like this. To make a profit of $750, you should produce 75 T-shirts and 15 sweatshirts. Okay, so gotta have that profit statement in there. Waiting for people to finish writing. So our next problem is the one I was telling you about that's going to be like the one on your test. And your homework is going to be this identical problem. We're going to do it once together, At the end of class, you're going to try it once by yourself. Okay, like cover up your notes and try it and then look back as you need to. And that is your only homework. Peter. Little veggie straws, eh? It's beautiful. The work, it was nice. Well done. Same problem we're going to do together. You're going to do again by yourself, and then you're also going to do on your quiz and test. Okay? Alrighty. So, read this thing. Totally. Zoe said, it is so overwhelming. I agree. You look at all that stuff and you're like, oh my God, how am I going to do this problem? So I try, if you read like the A, B, and C portions, I'm trying to help you out here by telling you the type of equations you're going to write. I also help you out. I pretty much have to identify which is X and which is Y. Otherwise, you guys mix them up and then your graphs are backwards and it's super confusing to grade. Yeah. Oh, that's not a question? Okay. All right. So, X is corn, Y is bran, X is corn, Y is bran. We need one equation for milk and one equation for flour. So, you're getting the milk from the corn and the bran. Hayden, what is the equation for milk? How many cups of milk for the corn muffins, Hayden? 4x plus what? 3y. And then how many total cups of milk do you have? 16. So what's the inequality? Anyone? Less than or equal to, right? Because he only has 16 cups of milk, he can't go over that. Nico, question?
That should be 4x plus 2y.
Oh, silly me. 4x plus 2y. Thank you, Nico. It's all going to be okay. There's only one number. All right, flour. What goes there? Raise your hand once you know the equation. I'm going to call on somebody without their hand up. What? I know. Should you raise your hand or not? Now you don't know. What is it, David? 3x plus 3y less than or equal to 15. What are the two easy equations that you can forget? The zeros one, right? So we need both. I'm just going to write them up here just to save some space. X and Y are greater than or equal to 0. As I told you yesterday, that's -1 out of like 10 to 15 points on this problem. That is why the problem is worth like 30% of your quiz and test. Okay, the last thing we need is a profit equation. How much profit do you make with corn muffins? It's in the second to last sentence. $3 for corn, and how much for bran? $2 for bran. Okay, now all we got to do is solve these two equations. What's the first step on this equation on the left, Ashton? Subtract 4x from both sides, and you get 2y less than or equal to -4x plus 16. What's the next step, Sophie? Divide by 2, all three parts. And we get y is less than or equal to negative 2x plus 8. Jana, what's the first step on the right equation? Minus 3x. So on this right equation, we get 3y less than or equal to negative 3x plus 15. What's the last step on that equation, Jack? Divide by 3, all three parts. So we get y less than or equal to negative x plus 5. And if you're one of the ones that likes to put the little ones in there so you know what to do with the slope, you can do that. Put negative 2 over 1 and put negative 1 over 1x. Totally fine. All right, we're going to grab these, go to the next page, and graph them. So you've already got your coordinate plane at the bottom of your paper. And we are going to only show quadrant 1 like we did in the previous example. So we'll graph this left equation in blue, the right equation in red. Start at positive 8. So what should I go by on x and y? Just once, totally fine. I'm going to skip to save space so it doesn't look so busy. Okay, so we'll start graphing at positive 8. Go down 2, right 1. Down 2, right 1. I'm going all the way to the x-axis. Then draw that line. The red line, we're going to start at positive 5 on the y-axis and go down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, all the way to the x-axis again. And then draw that line. And I'll give you a sec to get caught up again. Where do we shade that thing? Describe in words where we shade. The little corner thing, right? Yeah, I was doing one of these, like, what? All right, so right in this little corner, because we're less than both lines. So we're shading right here in the corner, which means we need to grab this point where they intersect and the y-intercept for the red line. So the y-intercept for the red line is 0, 5. Again, super easy to mix up and write 5, 0 instead, so just be careful with those. This point on the x-axis here is 4, 0. And the place where they intersect is 3, 2. And then our objective function was 3x plus 2y. What do you think the answer is going to be? 3, 2? I agree. 4, 0 is close, but 3, 2 wins. Just again, good idea to think about the answer before you begin, so if you get some really strange answer, you can figure out what's going on. So 3 times 3 plus 2 times 2, then we'll plug in 4, 0. So 3 times 4 plus 2 times 0, and then plug in 0, 5. 3 times 0 plus 2 times 5. So up top we get 13, the middle one we get 12, the bottom one we get 10. Again, I'll let you get caught up on that. Yeah.
On the test, do we have to write all three of those out? Or just the one?
I mean, I'm fine with you only rating those two on a test, just because this one you should be able to tell it's not going to be closer. But again, you have to think what you're multiplying there. So at least two of them. And then if you choose the wrong one, that's a sad day for you. Okay, profit statement. To make $13 profit, you have to make, so to make $13 profit, a whopping $13, should produce three trays of corn muffins, and 2 trays of bran muffins. Okay. That's it.